Ford Australia has cut the pricing of its Mustang Mach-E, the electric SUV, up to $7,000 before customer deliveries begin in December this year. So now, basically. Pricing now starts at 72,990 Aussie dollars before on-road costs for the Mustang Mach-E Select version, which is the cheapest one, and then it extends to the most expensive version, which is 104,990, and then that's before on-road costs, of course. Let's go over the model specs from the cheapest Select model to the Mustang Mach-E GT. So that's the fast one with the big battery. And we'll go over the prices and just talk a little bit about it, because this car really doesn't get enough coverage, I don't think, for actually what it is, which is really, really good. This means that the new pricing is really, really good. The Mach-E Premium now sits below the luxury car tax threshold in Australia for fuel-efficient vehicles and qualifies for other fringe benefits when you purchase it through a novated lease. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. I'm an old school type of person, so I kind of like the idea of just using my own money in the bank, no finance, going to buy something and then sell it when I don't want it anymore. I kind of like the idea of that. These days in the UK and Australia and the US, there are some really intricate and new fandangled ways of having a car without technically just going and buying it for your cash, I suppose. For example, the PCP deals in the UK, pretty good, I suppose. Novated lease in Australia is another one. So thank you very much for being patient while I've not posted anything for almost a week. It's 6 days today. And that's pretty bad, even for me. Sometimes I've had a day or 2 or 3. And I've been sorting out, documents and life admin stuff and feeling pretty stressed and anxious about life, basically. So I appreciate your patience for the members on YouTube and Patreon members. So when this is apparently a daily show as well, that's not great, I admit. So if you're new here, I'm Ben Alexander, and this is me. He's generally in most of my videos, I think. And I make videos, EV videos, about the latest EV news from around the world, almost every day. Despite the price cuts then, to the Mustang Mach-E, it's still a little bit more expensive than a Tesla Model Y, which is its closest rival and currently the top-selling electric vehicle in Australia and in loads of places on planet Earth. And the Model Y currently starts at 65,400 before on-road costs for the base standard version rear-wheel drive, and then that goes up to $91,400 before on-road costs for the performance version. The first Australian customer deliveries of the Mustang Mach-E are set to start about now, mid-December, and we don't know when that is. So Australia President and CEO Andrew Burkick said this price reduction is a major positive for our customers and demonstrates our commitment to delivering the best products and great value to our customers. I think I would pick the Mustang over a Tesla, because I think it drives better and I think it just looks a bit better to my eye, possibly. And I prefer it as a package, I suppose. But to be honest, I think it's much of a muchness. I think they're both fantastic cars, and more people will probably buy a Tesla, of course. And I know Ford have been struggling to sell anything this year, especially the F-150 pickup truck, which they only actually ended up selling 17% of their yearly target this year. And the Ford boss also said, as the EV market continues to evolve, we are responding to it. So I hope basically that means that when there's more cars in that bottom of the price range, and people can't just buy a car for $50,000 to $80,000, when there's more at the bottom, that will sort of pull down the prices of the more expensive ones. I hope that's effectively what will happen in the next 5 or 10 years. The Ford Mustang Mach-E Select, the cheapest one, is powered by a single rear-mounted motor, and that has 265 horsepower and 430 newton meters of torque, which is a lot. They're both really good figures. And it's got a 71 kilowatt hour battery pack, which has a WLTP claimed range of 470 kilometers. I think basically you'll pretty much always be able to get 400 kilometers if you drive ordinarily without thrashing it everywhere. And I think that's a given for the Mustang, 400 kilometers. If you drive slow and steady, then I think you will actually get close to the WLTP, I think. And I have proved that you can genuinely get the WLTP if you drive at 90 on a motorway. So wherever you are, as long as it's not winter and freezing, if you drive 90 kilometers per hour on a motorway, you'll get the WLTP generally. I haven't done this in all modern electric cars, but I've tried it a couple of times on in some cars. So if you're desperate, you can always just go a bit slower to eke up your range. If you can't afford, or you don't want to spend an extra 10 grand for a bigger pack, and you know that 3 times a year you have to drive to Sydney, you could still get, the cheaper BYD Dolphin, I think, and just drive a bit slower on a motorway. And this is the same with a petrol or a diesel. If you're going to drive 110, I don't know if you heard that. That's the thunder after the cyclone we've just had in Queensland. So yeah, if you have the cheaper, BYD Dolphin, rather than spending the extra money getting the big one, you could probably just make do with the small one, honestly, and just drive efficiently and cheaply. And I think you will get similar experience, and that could be the thing that basically saves you a handful of thousands of dollars. So I remember years ago in my small petrol car that I had, this was probably 13, 14 years ago, and the manual stated that the car used about 30% more petrol if you drive at 80 miles per hour rather than 60 miles an hour. So that's the easiest way to boost your range, I think. And I just did a trip back from Albury all the way up to Brisbane. So Albury's almost, it's 15 hours away or something like that, all the way back up to Brisbane, and I did 110 kilometers per hour the whole way through that trip. And the actual driving time was about 13 hours, just over 13 and a half hours, which I think would go up to 15 hours or so if I drove 100 kilometers per hour. But my range, if I had an EV with a smaller battery, that would be a reasonable thing to do, I think. Just go 100 on your long trips, not 110. You'll get more range. So if you've actually done that and done some tests, put in the comments what you've been getting. So like for A versus B, 110 versus 100, what are you getting if you've done any of these tests? Because I know a lot of the people that watch my videos are a bit like me, and you've probably done tests on this stuff. So I think that actually could make an EV or a cheaper EV a more viable option for you, so you can get the range that you feel you need. I think it's a done deal, isn't it? I think that's a really important thing to just point that out. You don't have to spend more money to get the range you want. You could just drive a bit more efficiently on the trips that you might be doing if you're a bit nervous about that. Maybe. There's just something to consider. It's just an angle I've got, So maybe I'm too patient and crazy, honestly, as well. I don't rush places. So what do you think about that as a concept? The Mustang, the mid-range Mach-E Premium, is powered by a more powerful single rear-mounted electric motor, producing 290 horsepower, so a little bit more, roughly the same torque, 430 newton meters, and it's fed by a larger 91 kilowatt hour battery pack with a WLTP claimed range of 600 kilometers, which I think is fantastic if you can ever get 600 out of it. I think you will get a good range if you go very slowly. If you go 90, I think you'll get 500-600. You'll get a lot, honestly. If you've tried that, let me know what you've got. The flagship Mustang, which is the Mach-E GT, is powered by 2 motors, all-wheel drive, and that has an output of 480 horsepower, 860 newton meters of torque, so tons of power. That's 91 kilowatt hour battery, and a WLTP range of 490, so a bit less. Updated pricing for the 2024 Ford Mach-E is as follows. So the cheapest one is $72,990. That's the minus $7,000 price. The premium one is $86,990. The Mustang Mach-E GT, which is the fastest one, is $104,990,000. So really, really good. All of those costs are before any of the on-road costs, so you'll not pay that, you'll pay more. And I just wanted to ask you all about Christmas giveaways as well, just a little bit at the end. I hope you don't mind. I wanted to run a Christmas giveaway, and I was thinking to produce some iron-on stickers, so you can have like your own cheap white shirt, and I can send you an iron-on sticker, and you can iron it on yourself at home. Are any of you interested in that idea, if I was to do that as a bit of a Christmas giveaway, so you can maybe just use an old cheap shirt as opposed to me sending an actual full shirt to you, and then it might not fit. I just think that might be a good way to do that. Or if you've got any other ideas, I'm really keen to hear about it. I would like to do something this Christmas to just, say thank you very much, and let me know in the comments, and I'll read them as they come in.